Good evening. I will call the March meeting of the Oak Ridge City Council to order. We're glad that everyone's attending tonight, whether it's in person or online. We're glad to have you here. Our invocation tonight will be led by Reverend Ken Sauer from First United Methodist Church, and that will be followed by a Pledge of Allegiance from Elena Bullitt, Oak Ridge High School Senior and Youth Advisory Board Chair, and Harry Shanfield, who's an Oak Ridge High School sophomore, and the Youth Advisory Board Treasurer. Pastor, if you come forward. Everyone, please stand.
Let us pray. God, we're grateful for this community and for the people who call Oak Ridge home. As we gather together tonight, fill this room with a spirit of kindness and cooperation. Help us listen with patience, speak with honesty, and keep our hearts focused on what truly serves our neighbors. Give us steady judgment, gentle wisdom, and a sense of shared purpose as we work through the decisions before us. May everything we do tonight help our city grow in strength, compassion, and unity. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Pro Tem Dotson.
Here.
Councilmember Gleason. Mayor Gooch.
Here.
Councilmember Hammond.
Here.
Councilmember Hensley.
Here.
Councilmember Hope. Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And ladies and gentlemen, you will notice that our city manager is not here tonight. He is recovering from surgery as a result of injuries that he sustained at his home Saturday night. He's doing well, and we will look forward to having him back. But I just wanted to let you know where he was, and we'll look forward to seeing him again soon. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
Under proclamations and public recognitions, we have the recognition of the Oak Ridge Internship Program.
Move to approve.
Doesn't need a vote, I don't believe.
It does not. Nope.
All right. Mr. Alt,
It's important.
it is important.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We're here tonight to introduce you all. Can you hear it well? Am I going to have to bend down? We're here to introduce you all to our spring 2026 interns. Our internship program, since we started it last year, has been really successful. We're really excited about the growth of it. If you or anyone you know is interested in an internship, we are currently accepting applications for our summer internship program. The deadline to apply is March 31st. Please pass that along if you have not already done so. We currently have 6 interns with us right now for the spring. Not everyone could be here tonight, but they are in the departments of human resources, communications, legal, information technology, and police. And for this summer, we're going to have most of those same opportunities and more. But I'm going to let them all introduce themselves, because it's easier for them to introduce than me try to introduce them.
You just forget their names, won't you? No, he won't.
My name is Lana. I'm an intern with HR with Eric.
Thank you.
My name is Emily. I'm an intern with police.
Yeah, well, give us your last name.
Emily Price.
Okay, Emily.
Hi, I'm Aurora Emery. I intern with Lauren in communications.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mazden Miller, and I intern with the Information Services with Amy.
Well, thank you very much, and we hope you're having a good opportunity with the city. It's a learning experience for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item of business, Madam Clerk.
A proclamation recognizing Dr. H.M. Hashimian for receipt of the National Excellence Award from the American Museum of Science and Energy.
So move. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. There are none opposed. Let me just say before I have the clerk read the proclamation. Mr. Hashemian and I have been friends for over 40 years. He's not only an outstanding man, he's an outstanding scientist with several degrees, and most importantly, he is a real asset to East Tennessee, the country, and particularly Oak Ridge. He is a real advocate, not only for Oak Ridge operations, but the city of Oak Ridge. And he cannot be with us tonight because he is attending a meeting in Washington, D.C. But I think it's appropriate to acknowledge that. And Madam Clerk, if you'd read the proclamation, please.
Whereas Dr. H.M. Hashemian is the recipient of the National Excellence Award from the American Museum of Science and Energy in recognition of his distinguished leadership in advancing STEAM education and nuclear science nationally. And whereas Dr. Hashemian is the CEO of Analysis and Measurement Services Corporation, a nuclear engineering firm headquartered in Knoxville, Tennessee, that he co-founded in 1977, and he also currently serves as president of the American Nuclear Society. And whereas under Dr. Hashemian's leadership, AMS has developed instrumentation and control system testing analysis equipment, training, and services that have been delivered to 26 countries, and plants serviced by AMS include virtually every United States nuclear power plant, as well as many in Europe and Asia. And whereas Dr. Hashemian holds 3 doctoral degrees in electrical, nuclear, and computer engineering, and he serves as both an adjunct professor of practice at Georgia Institute of Technology's Woodruff School of Mechanical Engineering, and as an adjunct professor of nuclear engineering at the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. And whereas Dr. Hashemian is the author or co-author of 22 United States patents and has written 3 books on instrumentation and control in nuclear power plants, in addition to hundreds of peer-reviewed journals, magazine articles, conference papers, reports, and guideline documents. And he has also authored standards for the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the Electric Power Research Institute, the International Atomic Energy Agency, and the International Electrotechnical Commission. And whereas Dr. Hashemian is a member of the European Nuclear Society and a fellow of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, the International Society of Automation, and the American Nuclear Society. And whereas within the American Nuclear Society, Dr. Hashemian has served in a number of roles, including as Vice Chair of the Development Committee, Chair of the Honors and Awards Committee, and Chair of the Human Factors Instrumentation and Control Division. And whereas Dr. Hashemian is also an active nuclear advocate in Tennessee, having served on both the Tennessee Nuclear Energy Advisory Council and the state's Energy Policy Council. And whereas Dr. Hashemian has spoken as guest lecturer, keynote speaker, and technical paper presenter in numerous conferences worldwide, and has taught training courses in over 15 countries on issues related to process instrumentation, automated testing, and equipment and process condition monitoring. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, that in recognition of his distinguished contributions to nuclear science and the advancement of STEAM education, the Oak Ridge City Council honors Dr. H.M. Hashemian and congratulates him on receiving the National Excellence Award from the American Museum of Science and Energy.
And we will be sure that that's delivered to Hosh in an appropriate time and setting. Next resolution, Madam Clerk.
We have a proclamation recognizing Rose Weaver for her service as the City of Oak Ridge Poet Laureate.
Move to approve.
Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any that oppose? There are none. Is Rose here? Yes. Okay, I'm trying. Rose, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. I'm going to ask Mr. Dodson to present the resolution after it's read. If you please come forward, Rose.
Whereas Rose Weaver has completed 2 years of service as the Poet Laureate for the City of Oak Ridge, and whereas born and raised in the historic Scarborough community, Miss Weaver is a graduate of Berea College with a bachelor's degree in sociology and economics and a master's degree in government contracting before spending 39 years working with United States Department of Energy subcontractors, including Wackenhut Services, UT Battelle, and Y-12 in roles spanning technical writing, diversity management, and small business development. And whereas in retirement, She's not retired. Ms. Weaver has continued her passion for education, serving as a preschool teacher and youth mentor, in addition to owning Weaver Consulting, which provides career development and youth enrichment programs. And whereas Ms. Weaver has led historical research initiatives on African American contributions to Oak Ridge, with her work being featured in the K-25 History Museum, Oak Ridge History Museum, and the American Museum of Science and Energy, and as the first citywide exhibit of Black history at a city festival in 2004, along with her brother Terry and Martin McBride. And whereas in 2023, Ms. Weaver helped found an Oak Ridge committee to create a national civil rights monument honoring the amazing Scarborough 85 students, and was instrumental in the passage of congressional resolutions honoring the Scarborough 85 and in securing support for a $3.2 million state grant to design and construct the new Oak Ridge Scarborough 85 monument. And whereas Ms. Weaver has been recognized for her dedication to social justice, history, and education, and her poetry and activism have inspired everyone who has been touched by her words and love for her community. And whereas Ms. Weaver is a dedicated member of Spurgeon Chapel AME Zion Church and has held several leadership positions, including Christian Education Coordinator for 30 years, Superintendent of Sunday School for 20 years, and Publicity Chair for 10 years. And she currently serves as chairperson for Love Thy Neighbor Ministry that provides outreach ministry to the Oak Ridge community. And whereas Ms. Weaver's work has been recognized with statewide honors, and she continues to be an ambassador for the community through her involvement in initiatives that support youth and promote literacy and self-expression. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, that the City Council recognize Rose Weaver in celebration of her many accomplishments as a poet, playwright, and activist who is committed to preserving history, uplifting youth, and educating young people and adults alike about the rich African American history in Oak Ridge.
Scott?
Rose, you mean so much to this community, and not everybody gets a standing ovation like that, so you know how much you mean to us. Rose is not only a talented poet, but Rose is an ambassador for our community. I said that the first time I saw her and I listened to her poetry, but it was more than that. She came to my classroom and she did poetry for my students. She's out in the trenches and she's such a wonderful person. And the city of Oak Ridge is richer just because you're here, Rose. So I want to present this proclamation to you from me to a good friend, Rose Weaver.
Thank you. Got to get on that thing.
Should be done.
I just want to thank the city of Oak Ridge and the committee for giving me an opportunity. Boy, I tell you, 2 years really goes really quick. But even though that I won't be the poet laureate, I'm hoping that I can collaborate with the incoming poet laureate, especially with the new initiatives that the city has in place with the comprehensive work, and especially as I think our key thing is to work more closely with our young people as well as our children. So hopefully me and the incoming poet laureate can do some collaborative things, and I will continue to serve as probably like an ad hoc ambassador. But thank you so much for the opportunity.
Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
Under special reports, we have the annual financial reports being presented by Pew CPAs.
Good evening, Gary Mitchell with Pew CPAs. First off, I want to also introduce Jonathan Duffy. I have with me too. Jonathan is the manager on the audit engagement. So we do always want to thank you all for the opportunity to be your all's auditors again this year. We really enjoy working with everybody in the finance department, and especially want to point out the fantastic cooperation that we get from Carrie and from Greg and from Tom. They're good to work with, and we really appreciate it. And the report I'm going to be going over tonight is the audit report for the year ended June 30th, 2025. This report was issued back in mid-January, and due to scheduling conflict, this was the earliest that we were able to present it. I'm going to go over first the bigger report, I don't know if you guys have all you all have copies of. The big report is the actual financial statement itself. If you don't have a copy of it, I'll be brief discussing it. But the highlights of the financial statements themselves are, first off, we are pleased to be able to present a clean audit opinion on the financial statements again this year. So it's a unmodified, clean auditor's report on the financial statements. And I like to go through the management's discussion and analysis section of the financial statements, which is at the very beginning of the financials. They provide a good overview of the financial statements for anybody that doesn't really want to spend their time to read this 150 pages here. It's good stuff. We spent a lot of time putting it together and looking at it, but the MD&A at the beginning is a good overview. And I'm going to start on, it's Roman numeral page 15 of the MD&A, if you get a chance to look at it. It shows the statements of net position by the governmental activities and business type activities and the total primary government. The governmental activities is the city and the schools combined, and the business type activities is basically the electric department and the water sewer department. The highlights of this being the assets of the city and schools are approximately $3 million less than they were last year, which is not a whole lot considering the total is about $300 million. The assets of the electric and water sewer departments have increased by about 20-something million in the last year. This reflects the ongoing construction of the new water plant that you all are familiar with. From a liability perspective, the liabilities of the city and schools decreased approximately $4 million in the last fiscal year. Meanwhile, the liabilities of the water and sewer department have increased about 15 million or so. And again, that's because of the ongoing construction of the water plant. And then one of the other things I point out on this page is the net position of each of these, mainly the net position relating to the electric and water sewer departments. The net investment in capital assets has increased significantly because of the investment that you all are putting into the water plant. The unrestricted net position portion has decreased by about $6 million. It's down to about 7.3 million total. So that's just something to point out, that unrestricted net position fund balance is beginning to decrease. As a result of that, I know you all are aware that there was a $12 million interfund loan that was approved for the water department after this June 30th year end to help provide funds for the water department temporarily to finish that project and to continue to operate for the time being. That's the big overview of statement of net position from the statement of activities, which is on the following page number 16, Roman numeral 16. You'll see that revenues actually for the governmental activities and the governmental activities was down a little bit in the last year, mainly just because of the timing of some big grants that you all have gotten that were more one-time capital and operating grants, especially for the airport. flipping over to page 7, this is the revenue and expenses, budget to actual versus the general fund. You'll see for the year ended June 30th, 25, revenue actually came in about $3.5 million stronger than budgeted amounts, which is again a positive variance, and then expenses were actually about $1.1 million less than budget, which both of those combined produce a $4.7 million positive variance in the general fund budget. One thing I will point out on this page is on the original budget, final budget column, the original budget amounts budgeted, projected decrease about 4.7 million, 5.4 million for the year, to which we highlighted that may not be allowable in accordance with city charter. We'll talk about that in budget finding here at the very end of the report. And then briefly, I'll say, you don't have to flip to this page, but page 63, there's two mentions there. One for the subsequent event for the $12 million interfund loan that was made to the water department. And then there is a mention that there was a large accounting change during the year for the way, it's a new accounting pronouncement that was adopted during the year that had an impact on the financial statements, and also a few error corrections that were made in the financial statements as well. I will point your attention, though, to the very back of the big bound copy. This is the findings and question cost section of the report. This is where we have any written audit findings that need to be communicated to City Council. And we did have 3 audit findings in the current year. The first 2 are both repeat findings from last year's audit. The first one being financial reporting and account reconciliations in the Kayenta system. So long story short is the finance department is still struggling somewhat to get the Kayenta system to produce the kind of reporting that they need and to be able to accurately reconcile that information and use it to its full ability. I did want to point out that we did definitely see improvement in this area in the last year, so I do believe some of the issues are being corrected and that we're making some progress in this area. And I know management has already entered into some additional contracts with some additional vendors to get the system working properly. The second finding with capital assets is again a repeat, but again we have seen significant improvement in this area, so I'm hoping that both of these findings will go away next year. Very similar to the kinds of finding, and it's just management is in the process of working with some vendors to be able to come up with a better way of tracking capital assets going forward. And then the last finding I mentioned earlier is a budgeting finding. There's some specific language in the city charter about the level of budgetary control. And then also the state of Tennessee requires that budgeting specifically for a emergency communications district cannot be exceeded at the line item level, and we had some instances of that. So we do have a budget finding for the current year on both of those items, and our recommendation is just that management should monitor expenses on a regular basis and bring any necessary amendments to the city council in a timely manner. So that's it for the budget findings. If anybody has any questions on those, I'll pause here and answer any of those questions before I move to the last little bit.
Questions? Ms. Smith, any comments on budget finding?
I'm pleased with this report so far. You've highlighted the things that we need to know about. Look forward to hearing what else you have to say.
Okay. The only other thing I have to go over is the smaller report, which may be the one that you guys have a printed copy on. This is the one, on the front it says report to the mayor and city council. So these are the required communications that we have to make as part of our audit. Flipping over to page 1, I'll be brief through this as well. But the accounting policies and practices on page 1, the biggest thing to point out there is, again, that we did adopt the new accounting standard in the current year that has a somewhat of an impact on the financial statements. And then there's a mention of the airport impairment loss under significant unusual transactions. Page number 2, audit adjustments and uncorrected misstatements. We did have a few audit adjustments in the current year. They're listed there for your information. And then we do have a couple of small uncorrected misstatements that are not material to the financial statements that are also listed there as well. And we have no concerns about those. There's a mention of the emphasis matter paragraph that we added in the current year because of the significance of the accounting change and error corrections that I mentioned in the audit report, but that's, does not significantly impact the auditor's opinion on the financial statements. We do mention on page 2 that we did not have any significant issues in dealing with management or significant difficulties in performing the audit. So the finance department is very good to work with, and we like that strong relationship we have there. And then flipping over on page 4 and 5, it talks about the significant accounting estimates that are a big part of your all's report. The only thing I'll mention is on page number 5, there's a new one this year called compensated absences liability, and that was a result of the new accounting pronouncement. So just something to be aware of, that you have a new liability on the books that is largely the result of an estimate. And then after that, there's just a copy of the representation letter that we have management sign and return to us as part of the audit. So that's it for my presentation. Again, welcome any questions, comments.
Questions, Mr. Pismer?
I'll just say you have the larger packet, and we will give you copies of the report to the mayor and city council. You don't have that in your folder, so thank you.
Any other comments or questions? It's a good report.
Thank you, we
And
appreciate it.
we certainly appreciate the service and professionalism of Pugh and Company. We enjoy working with you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next special report, Madam Clerk.
We have the transmittal of the capital improvements program by Chairman Steve Whitson of the Oak Ridge Municipal Planning Commission.
Chairman Whitson.
Mayor Gooch, members of council, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to bring you this year's CIP this evening. On behalf of the Planning Commission, I want to extend our thanks for your continued support of the comprehensive plan. I recognize this has been a very long journey, but with the support of great staff and our consultant, the creation of this document is on its way to you all for consideration. The comprehensive plan will be a valuable tool to you as a council and to the city manager and the finance office as you all prepare budgets in the future, in that it will act as a guide for future projects. As in prior years, we continue to use the blueprint as a guide, and now also the proposed comprehensive plan that was sent to you for consideration as we prepared the CIP. Included in your agenda packet this evening is the CIP for fiscal years 2027 through 2022, as well as the rankings as were prepared by the Planning Commission. I would encourage each of you to review the transmittal letter as it outlines several projects that ranked high throughout this year's efforts. Some of the highest ranking projects this year include the Information Technology Warm Site, Fire Station Number 2, the Animal Shelter, wastewater treatment plants, the electric distribution system improvements, and joint city and school heating and air conditioning, as well as roofing projects. In addition to thanking each of you for your continued service, the Planning Commission wishes to extend its thanks to each of the department heads for all of their hard work and the effort that they put into making the CIP a working document. In particular, I wish to publicly thank Ms. Jennifer Williams, Mr. Travis Eastep, and Mr. Jacob Hawks of the Planning and Development Department for their continued support and cooperation in preparing this year's CIP document. The commitment and time that it takes to prepare this document is monumental, to say the least. Finally, I wish to thank my fellow planning commissioners for the time that they devote to making the CIP a document that you can use as you prepare budgets for our community. Should you have any questions, you're certainly welcome to reach out to me, or you can contact the planning and development staff at your convenience to get those answered. Happy to entertain any questions, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions for Chairman Whitson? Comments?
Yeah, I just want to comment that we appreciate the Planning Commission's effort in putting this together. I think it reflects most of the policies we're aware of that are being pursued for capital projects. But in case anyone's confused, this does not mean that we have approved the plans for these specific projects. The annual budget and so forth will come later. And And it's not the same thing as our budget.
Correct.
Mr. Hensley?
Yeah, there's always a dilemma, since Jim and I are both on the planning commission. There's always a dilemma about should we consider the cost of our recommendations? And what the attitude I've always taken, and I think I've suggested to some of the others, is that look at the needs for the city and put down the highest rank that needs for the city. And then, like Ms. Smith's saying, we're going to work it out later on how to pay for it.
That's correct. And when the planning commission was putting this together, when we were meeting on it and discussing it and so forth, I believe by and far, most everybody was putting the cost to the side. They were trying to align it with the blueprint, and they were also trying to align it with the proposed comprehensive plan.
Any other comments or questions from Mr. Whitson? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank the members of the Planning Commission. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
Next item is the City Manager Evaluation Committee report, and that's Chairman Heyman. Councilmember Heyman.
Okay, good evening. It's my privilege to offer this report as the chair of the City Manager Evaluation Committee. This year, committee members were myself and Mayor Warren Gooch and Council Member Chuck Hope. We met twice as part of this process. The first meeting was on January the 5th. At that meeting was preliminary, where we set the timeline and the protocol for the evaluations and the process. All committee members were present. City clerk was present, and the city manager was present for that conversation. We met again after we had received the reviews and looked at them and reviewed them. We met on February the 2nd to look at the evaluations and develop recommendations to the council regarding the change or possible change in the compensation and the contract extension. Again, all three committee members were present and engaged. We did, at the second meeting, have a citizen there, Mr. Doug Colclaser, who was there, and he made some comments as well. With the overall ratings, what we did note that the overall ratings were favorable, highly favorable. Actually, for the city manager, we noted that he had accomplished and has accomplished a number of goals that we as a city council set. In the strategic plan, while at the same time dealing with multiple complex issues and projects. In particular, the council noted the knowledge and experience of strategic envisioning, his adaptability and capacity for innovation, his leadership and staffing of positions has been exceptional, and then a timely response to citizens' expressions and concerns. And so we voted unanimously at the second meeting to recommend that the city manager's salary be increased by approximately 4%. Of course, this is retroactive to the pay period of beginning October 26, 2025. So this 4% increase will bring his annual salary to $245,315.20. We also recommended that the manager's employment agreement be extended by 1 year from November 1st, 2029 to November 1st, 2030. Attached, we do have the resolution that makes these amendments to his employment agreement and provides for the recommended salary increase and contract extension. So on behalf of the City Manager's Evaluation Committee, I move for approval of the accompanying resolution in the packet.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any questions for Councilman Hammond? Seeing none, seeing none, the motion is to approve the resolution. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? There are none, and the resolution is approved. Thank you, Chairman Hammond. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
We have elections and appointments, but at the request of Mayor Gooch, with the absence of 2 council members, we are going to postpone the elections, the board and commission elections for Oak Ridge Housing Authority and Recreation and Parks Advisory Board to the April meeting, so everyone will have an opportunity to cast a vote and participate in that. So, so then the appointment we do need to make tonight is the appointment of the city attorney Evaluation Committee, and you have a memo on that in your packet. The staff is recommending, based on the rotation of the committee members, Councilmember Gleason will be the chair, and Councilmember Dotson and Councilmember Smith will be on, or we're recommending that they be on, consist of the city attorney Evaluation Committee. So we would need a motion to approve that.
I move that we accept our clerk's recommendation for the committee to evaluate the attorney.
Moved and seconded. Are there questions, any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is to approve. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? There are none. And it is approved. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
Next item is the consent agenda.
Are there any items that anyone wishes to take off consent?
I'd like to remove item C.
Item C, okay?
C for Charlie.
Motion to approve with item C removed.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll be back on item C. Madam Clerk?
A resolution approving an amendment to the professional services agreement with Freeze and Nichols Incorporated, Charlotte, North Carolina, to account for an increased timeline and amendments associated with adoption of the updated comprehensive plan in an amount not to exceed $4,835 for a new not to exceed amount of $222,987.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Tinsley, you had a question?
My question is, and if you look on page 63, we talk about growth and change opportunities. And the first line is DOE property as discussed in the previous section. And if you go back and look at the previous section, there's one paragraph, and it makes a statement that's very important. Over half of the city's footprint, including all undeveloped acreage, is owned by the Department of Energy, and it is unavailable for urban development. DOE is, however, open for discussions about the transfer of unused properties, and they are not considered to be mission critical for future use. And it essentially says that DOE would be willing to work with us, but I do not think that during the comprehensive planning process that we gave adequate attention to the DOE open space, as I've said many times. And a good example of community input that we could have had was in the Planning Commission about 2 weeks ago, when we probably had 40 people who came in and talked about three bends in particular. And so I would like, for whatever we're going to do going forward, to have our consultant take a better look at that and get citizen input on the DOE open space. And another problem was when Commissioner Snyder suggested that we change the large purple industrial area on the west end. And the question was, what do you change it to? Well, we don't want to change it to open space like three bends, but we don't want to leave it industrial. So it turns out that there really wasn't an adequate category for that. So maybe we should come up with something that's in between industrial and open space or whatever. Maybe call it special planning, a special planning area, related to industry, or a combination of industrial and open space, a special planning area. I hope that would be possible.
All right, any other comments, questions? Ms. Smith?
Yeah, it was my understanding in seeing this that the purpose of this amendment is to basically instruct the consultant to make final changes to their draft comprehensive plan to reflect the changes that the Planning Commission made at its last meeting. And so that the plan hopefully will be adoptable based on the Planning Commission's decisions. I'd like clarification on that.
Ms. Williams?
Councilwoman Smith is correct. This amendment and the cost associated with it is related to the fact that we've extended beyond the original timeline and scope of our contract. So we're a few months beyond what the original adoption date was shown in the contract and a few rounds of edits past what was shown in the original contract. So Ms. Smith is correct. This contract amendment would cover incorporating the edits to the plan that were adopted by the Planning Commission last month and that will come to you assumedly in April. So what you suggested, Charlie, would not be done, I guess, within this amendment to the contract.
That's clearly what I'm concerned about. And it was the question about what to label the purple area if we changed it. We basically punted and changed it back to FIR, Federal something reserve, which to me, it just shows that we lacked something when we were looking at that, and we didn't get public input for the 16,000 acres. I'm very concerned there. I'm really not very happy with that part of the plan.
Ms. Smith, you have any other questions?
No.
Comments? All right. Any other questions or comments? The motion is to approve the amendment to the contract and will be on the board.
Ayes 5, no nays.
And it is approved. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
Give me 1 second. There we go. We're on public hearings and first reading of ordinances. And we have an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2 titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee by amending section 7.06 titled D1 Downtown District, subsection F41, and section 13.02 titled Design Review Standards, subsections F2, F3, and G3D for the purpose of promoting biodiversity and prohibiting invasive species.
Move to approve. Second.
Ms. Rackard?
Hi. So I have the next 6 ordinances, so I'll sort of collectively talk about those. This is
And explain why we're here.
Yes. So this is similar to what we did 2 months ago. These are being brought back to City Council for you to ratify these ordinances. They have previously been approved, but they were approved under an incorrect publication hearing timeline. So the state changed the timeline. We used to be under a 15-day publication notice. That timeline has changed to 21 days. These were published under the old timeline of 15 days, which we actually did an 18-day, but we didn't meet the 21-day. So we're bringing all of these back for City Council to approve them again. So these are the zoning ordinance text amendments that were all done under an incorrect publication timeline. So this is the first one. It was passed by City Council unanimously when it went through the first time. They all were except for one. So I noted those in the packet. I went ahead and included the entire packet that was approved last time just so you'd have all that information again. But that's what you've got before you. This is the one that was promoting biodiversity and prohibiting invasive species.
All right, any questions for Ms. Rackard? Ms. Smith?
Yeah. Are the effective dates of these text amendments going to be based on the date of original enactment?
No.
Or will the ratification will reset the clock on them?
It's going to reset the clock.
Okay. So is there any risk that a property owner whose project was required to be, to comply with one of these requirements, can come in and say that they don't have to comply because the ordinance wasn't in effect at the time of the action?
I don't, I'm going to have Jennifer come up and help me here, but I don't know that we have anything that was, that's going to be pending where it's going to be an issue, but we're going to see.
I'll just say that, since this ordinance was originally adopted, we have been reviewing site plans in accordance with this invasive species and biodiversity policy. I'll say that a vast majority of the site plans we see meet this already without requiring any changes, and any changes that we have required have been extremely minor. Like a grass species was in fact invasive, and so we asked someone to change a grass species. So we have not, in my opinion, done any dramatic alterations or changes to a project based on this ordinance.
Is the same true for the rest of these, or do we need to consider them, ask that question separately? So,
I mean, all the ordinances that were enacted previously, we obviously have been following since that time, but I'm not aware of any projects that were significantly impacted.
Okay.
In fact, like, for example, item C, one of the sign ordinance changes, in large part came about because a business wanted to do a kind of sign, and this ordinance change allowed them to do that. So it was in the business's favor.
okay. And so in that case, we might have somebody objecting to the approval because it was under invalid. Well, I just hope we're not going to get into trouble because of this change in timing. So-
Yeah, certainly
so appreciate the
not ideal.
insights. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments?
Quick question.
Mr. Dodson?
Yeah, this follows what Councilwoman Smith said. I mean, do we have anything that's currently underway as far as building that, worst case, we decide we don't approve it? What do we do in that situation? I don't think it's gonna happen.
Well, I don't think it would happen either, since these were unanimously approved except for one, and the one that was not unanimously approved, we only had one no vote on it. I don't anticipate that to occur. If that were to occur, obviously, we're going to deal with it at that point, and if it did not pass, then it would not pass. I mean, that's just the reality. And I don't think any of these have any pending issues right now to where we have anything where somebody's currently in a violation of a new provision. But if they did, obviously, those type of situations, if we had something pending right now, we would pull back those violations.
Thank you, Tim.
Okay?
Mr. Tinsley?
Yeah, just a quick comment. I thought I heard you say earlier that we've been following these anyway.
We have, yeah, since they've been originally adopted.
So any conflicts would have immediately showed up?
All right, any other questions or comments? The motion is to approve item A under public hearings and ordinances. We're on the board.
Five ayes, no nays.
And it is approved. Item B.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the City of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending section 7.06. It's the same one. It's the same one. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, what? Oh, here it is, sorry. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the City of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending the following sections. Section 14.07, titled Signs for Residential Districts. Section 14.09, titled Signs for Education Districts. Section 14.10, titled Signs for Office Institutional Districts. Section 14.11, titled Signs for Neighborhood Business Districts, Section 14.12, titled Signs for Community Business Districts, and Section 14.14, titled Signs for Business, Park, and General Industrial Districts, all for the purpose of eliminating the height restrictions for wall signs, except that the top of the wall sign can be no higher than the building's apparent roof line or cornice, and to allow internal direct illumination of wall signs in all districts except residential ones, provided the illuminate wall sign does not face an R1 or R2 zoning district.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? Ms. Rackard? All right, seeing none, the motion is to approve. We're on the board.
Sorry. Five ayes, no nays.
And the ordinance is ratified. Item C.
I believe we may have skipped item B.
My notes page is a little off, so.
All right, so we need to go back to B then.
Can we go back to B? This one?
Okay. Item D.
Okay.
Item D.
I'm trying to double check and make sure this is, yeah, okay. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2 titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee by amending the zoning map which is made a part of the ordinance by changing the zoning district of parcels 048.00, 049, 050, 051, 52, 53, 54, 55, and 56, Anderson County Tax Map 106A Group B containing approximately 3.79 acres from R1 CMDO I'm having all kinds of trouble with these tonight. Titled Definitions to update the definition of portable storage containers, Section 3.18 titled Temporary Use Permits, subsection H titled Portable Storage Container Regulations for the purpose of making portable storage containers an accessory use in non-industrial zones for a defined time period and for specific circumstances with a temporary use permit or building permit, and subsection C titled Permitted Accessory Uses of Section 8.01 titled IND1 Industrial District, Section 8.02 titled IND2 Industrial Districts, and Section 8.03 titled IND3 Industrial Districts to add portable storage containers as an accessory use without time restraint, provided containers are screened from adjacent and/or abutting residential districts.
Move for approval. Moved and seconded. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, the motion is to approve, and we're on the board.
Okay, I'm way behind now. I'm sorry, my thing's not catching up. There we go. Portable storage, there we go. Five ayes, no nays.
And the ordinance is ratified. What about item C?
In item B, I think it duplicated C in there twice, so I'll just bring that back next month.
All right, so moving on, we'll be on item E.
Can you pull it up so I'll make sure I'm reading the right one?
E.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2 titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee by amending subsection E of section 8.01 titled IND1 Industrial Districts, section 8.02 titled IND2 Industrial Districts, and section 8.03 titled IND3 Industrial Districts to allow for 0 lot line setbacks for the sides and rear when abutting parcels in the same zoning district.
Moved and seconded. Comments?
Yes.
Mr. Hensley.
I have a kind of an issue with this because let's take for an example, you've got an industrial facility that builds something that's vibration sensitive, like gas centrifuges. They don't like buildings shaking. And then another industry comes along and can put their facility right on the same lot line that does something like manufacture things with massive presses and create vibration. I would think that that within this, we'd have a permission statement that you need to contact the existing business before you allow the second one to have a 0 lot line.
The purpose of the amendment was to allow essentially attached buildings that have a lot line in between them, which that was a situation that came up for an industrial user, not constructed yet relevantly, but that may be constructed in the future that wanted to have one building on over 2 separate pieces of property. And this would allow that to take place. We did not consider requiring permissions from adjacent property owners at the time it was initially adopted.
I really think we should, because if the second industry is going to impact the first industry, I would think the first industry would have some kind of say about a zero lot line.
Well, and I guess what I'll say is that the current side setback for adjoining buildings would be 25 feet. So the question, I guess, would be if 25 feet would make a significant difference on an industry locating next to.
Yeah, but if you get
Something else.
under the new ordinance, you get an industry that it builds right up to the lot line, and then a second one comes along that wants to have zero lot line with the first one. It could create an issue with the first one.
And we would still, all fire codes and things of that nature would have to be met. If buildings are certain distances from each other, touching each other, there are extra separation requirements, access requirements for fire. All those things would still have to be taken into
Yeah,
consideration.
but not for vibration through the foundations. And I know for a fact that when I worked in the centrifuge business at K25, when the uranium enrichment cascade was running, it affected the operating centrifuges that were probably a half a mile away. And so I would think that you'd need at least some kind of permission to have a zero lot line for adjacent to an existing business that might be sensitive to the second one. Can you look at that? I mean, I can't tell you.
The motion is to approve it. It's been moved and seconded. Now, are you trying to amend what's already been approved
Yes,
one time?
I would suggest that we amend it to require that the first business, who is already existing, would be contacted and request permission to allow the second one to have a zero lot line.
I think we can provide you with some additional information on second reading too. This is the one item that did not pass unanimously the first time. It is the same comment that was made last time when it was brought by. It was.
Me that made it.
It was. Yes, it was.
Well,
I appreciate the consistency, for sure.
guess why Orano doesn't want an airport? Same kind of reason.
All right, moving on. This is on first reading. So we'll be back for second reading in April.
Yes.
Okay. All right, any other questions or comments? We're up.
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
If Charlie's amendment is proposed for this item, could council make that, make an amendment to this on second reading, or would it have to go back to the planning commission?
When you make a substantive change to a zoning ordinance, it does have to go back to planning commission.
Can we make a substantive change in the second reading?
It would go back to planning commission for them to, it would have to go back to planning commission for them to make a recommendation on it and then come back to you.
I personally would welcome that to come back to the planning commission. Personally.
I don't know how to handle this, since we have a motion on the floor, but I would like to send it back to the planning commission for review, rather than having us try to figure it out here, this meeting or next.
Well, he did not receive a second to his motion. I don't know that he made a formal
He didn't make a
motion,
formal motion, yeah.
but if he did, there was no second.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out whether it would be an amendment to the motion on the floor, or whether it would be a move to defer.
I will change my motion to defer it back to the planning commission to consider the situation with industries that may not be necessarily compatible.
Is that your motion?
Yes,
Okay, you need to withdraw the first one.
yes.
Okay.
All right, you
I'll
withdraw the
second-
first one. And,
I'll second your motion.
all right, it's moved and seconded. Comments, questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No?
No.
We're on the board.
This is on the amendment,
This
even
is
though
on the
I can't
amendment.
really change that.
I'm sorry, it's not it's the deferral.
The motion to defer, yes,
Motion to
okay. The
Planning
planning
Commission,
commission,
yeah.
yes, I can't really change the wording here, but
Okay.
we'll go off on that.
Be to defer.
So, ready?
Yeah, my motion was to defer.
Motion is to defer back to planning, refer
Got
back
it.
to planning commission.
Quick question, just before we do that. Is there any impact on timing of this with regards to what we've got? I know you said that there's somebody who's looking to do this.
And I'm not sure what that schedule is. There could be an impact to their schedule, but I don't know what that is.
All right, Madam Clerk, can we vote on the board or not? Or is it going to have to be a voice vote?
We can vote on the board, I just can't change that language
The- but
there, so it would be on the motion.
Yeses would be to defer back to
Yes.
the planning commission.
Yes.
Nays would.
Correct.
All right. So the motion is to defer back to the planning commission.
Okay.
And we're on the board. Thank you.
Okay. It's 2 ayes and 3 nays. So the motion fails.
Has to have 4 votes. All right, so we're back on the ratification of the ordinance as written.
Yep, hold on, I'm gonna go off and go back.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready now? Okay.
All right, and we're on the board.
Four ayes, 1 nay.
And the resolution is ratified on first reading. All right.
Okay.
Item F.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending subsection D of section 5.05, titled R3 Medium Density Residential District, to create provisions for single-family attached dwellings to be built on individual lots by right by changing the maximum usable floor area to lot area, building footprint percentage, and by exchanging the minimum lot size requirement with a maximum density provision of 16 units per acre with 0 side setbacks for shared walls.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, the motion is to ratify on first reading. We're on the board.
Five ayes, no nays.
And it is approved. Item G.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending the zoning map, which is made a part of the ordinance by changing the zoning district of parcels 040.00 and 041.00, Anderson County Tax Map 100A, Group A, containing approximately 5.7 acres from R3 PUD, Medium Density Residential District, with a planned unit development overlay, to R3 Medium Density Residential District, said parcels being located at 203 Michigan Avenue and 141 Madison Lane, respectively.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, the motion is to approve. We're on the board.
Five ayes, no nays.
And it is approved on, ratified on first reading. Item H, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to amend Title 14, titled Zoning and Land Use Control, Chapter 5, titled Stormwater Management of the Code of Ordinances, City of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending Section 14-502, titled Definitions, subsection 9, to clarify the definition of clearing.
Moved and seconded. Any questions from Ms. Williams or Ms. Racker?
So this actually came about with a discussion that the deputy city manager and I had with Councilwoman Smith, and is to amend the definition of clearing for some clarification to just address when someone goes in and cuts down trees, to say that if you are clearing land that is over 5 acres, if you're cutting down trees where it's a land disturbance of over 5 acres, that also is clearing, so that it will address stormwater. Could you go back, Val, just one page to show the bold strike through? And it'll just show that one sentence, just so you can see. We're just adding that one bolded sentence to the definition for some clarity.
All right. Ms. Smith, is that acceptable to you? Yes. Okay. Any other questions or comments? The motion is to approve, and we're on the board.
5 ayes, no nays.
And it is approved on first reading. That one will also be back in April, correct? All right. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
Under resolutions, we have a resolution designating John C. Manone as the next City of Oak Ridge Honorary Poet Laureate to serve for a 2-year term ending March 19th, 2028.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Faulkner.
Mayor and Council, before I introduce Mr. Manoni, I'd like to recognize that there are a few people who served on the selection committee who volunteered their time who are with us tonight. Matthew Hyde, who's an English teacher across the street at the high school. Just wanted to recognize their time.
Thank you.
Are they here? Thank you.
Okay.
John Manoni is a long and established poet. Would you like to come up? His vision for Poet Laureate includes showing that, like laughter, poetry is good medicine. He would like to dispel the myth that poetry is not accessible to most people. He hopes to offer writing workshops for the public, host open mic nights and poetry slams, as well as lead a gathering of past and future Oak Ridge Poet Laureates. He has a long publishing history. His poems and essays have appeared in publications as diverse as the Baltimore Review, Critical Humanities, and the New England Journal of Medicine. He has been a nominee for the Tennessee Book Award, as well as the Weatherford Poetry Award. He'll take a seat on the city's Arts History Culture Alliance Advisory Board, and I'm certain that he will represent the city well.
I want to thank the entire...
You're going to have to state your name and address, please.
Yes, sir. John C. Manoni. And my address is 300 South Tulane Avenue, apartment 10101, Oak Ridge.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody who enabled this prestigious position that I take very seriously, and I'm anxious to serve the city of Oak Ridge with my literary skills. And what else you want me to say?
You have a poem for us.
I do have a poem, and I'm going to read it. It's a short one, and it's not a Debbie Downer. Okay, can everybody hear me back there?
You address us. You don't address the crowd.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, good.
Plus I can't hear you if you turn that way.
Okay. All right, this one is published in Breakfast at Midnight. It's the name of the poem. It's published in Poetry South originally, and it's in this collection, Song of the Mountains. We are hungry after we kissed all night in our driveway, and later at an IHOP, the host splits our order, 2 large pancakes and eggs, places them in black styrofoam boxes. We eat our midnight snack in the car, still running because we had to jump the battery. It completely discharged because we left the tailgate open to let the cool honeysuckle breeze in and hear the swish of pines where spring's first fireflies flash together with the cool, gauzy light of stars. Green scintillations sparking the haze of a hot Mayapple moon. I lean across the console, whisper something holy, then caress her face. We kiss, the salt, sweet savor, bacon and maple syruping our lips lingers, even after 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you. We got a vote.
You got a vote?
All right. All those in favor of the resolution, name Mr. Benoni.
I got a real quick question, but it's just
All right.
looking at the resolution, and I meant to get with you, where it's interchangeably on here where it says Oak Ridge Honorary Poet Laureate, and then sometimes just Laureate. And so I wasn't sure kind of how that was or is. I'm a yes vote, absolutely supporting you, but I just was following the language. I was like, is this honorary or not, essentially? Does that make sense?
It's honorary. Yeah.
It's honorary?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, because it says, be it further resolved that the above-named poet laureate shall serve in such capacity for the purpose positively promoting. So it's just, it doesn't say honorary in certain spots, but I'm absolutely fully supporting. I appreciated the poem, and so I have no issues there at all whatsoever in any shape, form, or fashion. I just wanted to make sure I understood kind of the resolution or the wording, honorary or not.
If it needs my official 2 cents.
Madam Clerk, Ms. Rackard, are we consistent here? Do we think? It's okay.
It reads just like all the others.
It's okay? Okay.
Good. All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Congratulations to Mr. Manoni. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Judith. All right, next item of business, Madam Clerk.
A resolution amending Resolution 12-158-2025, authorizing a professional services agreement with Goodwin Mills Kaywood LLC, Brentwood, Tennessee, for the initial phase of airport consulting services for the proposed Oak Ridge General Aviation Airport to expand the scope of services and increase the compensation for a new not-to-exceed amount of $277,175.
Move for approval.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Pessmer, you got any comments?
I do not. Kendall Moore is here. If you have any questions for her, we don't have anybody from GMC here tonight, so.
I have a question.
Okay, Kendall, why don't you go over what we're doing here? Then we'll
Okay.
take questions.
This is to amend an existing council authorization to expand the scope of services for Goodwin Mills Kaywood. The revised total amount is not to exceed $277,175. That's about $100,000 than what was previously approved. A little bit of background. Following the RFQ for professional airport services, GMC was selected. Council approved this in an initial scope through Resolution 12-158-2025. That included site selection, study update, land appraisal and review appraisal, negotiations with property owners, and evaluation of property acquisition options. In meetings with Tennessee Aeronautic, they wanted us to also concurrently complete an updated aeronautical forecast, airport layout plan, and potentially a NIPIAS, National Plan of Integrated Airport Systems, revalidation. Additionally, we added some drone imagery captures on there. Tennessee TDOT Aeronautic conducted an independent fee review of this scope and fee and found the revised scope and fees reasonable. The approval would ensure coordinated planning aligned with state guidance and would support previous actions towards this. Same funding sources. It would be funded through Appalachia Regional Commission's planning grant and our allocations from Tennessee Aeronautical Economic Development Fund. We had not executed the contract that was previously authorized, so it wouldn't be an amendment to the contract, but an amendment to the previous resolution.
Okay.
Any questions?
Mr. Hensley?
Yeah, it's my understanding we do not have a proposed site yet. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
I'm sorry, I would like to clarify. We have looked at different sites and have several preliminary reviews of sites done. So, but we don't have.
Do you have you decided on a site or not? The answer is no.
Officially not, but there are preferred selected places that have been reviewed preliminarily.
When are we going to get a chance to see what sites are potentially selected?
During the site selection study.
Okay.
I'm going to move to defer this for 30 days. There's confusion about this, and this needs to be considered, in my opinion, by all members of council. So I would move that this be deferred until the next meeting.
I'll second that.
Ms. Smith, you had a comment?
I had a question, but I don't think it's important if we're going to defer.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, the motion is to defer to the April meeting. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? And it is deferred until April. Next item, thank you, Kendall. Next item of business.
A resolution awarding a contract to J.G. Mullins Construction Company Incorporated, Knoxville, Tennessee, for subgrade and pavement repairs prior to resurfacing in an amount not to exceed $576,250.
Moved and seconded.
This is a contract for exactly what it says. It's for doing the subgrade repairs before we pave. We decided to try this a little bit differently this year. We have traditionally included all of these repairs in the paving contract, so this is not a new cost. It's just a separate contract for the same amount. Also, I would say that while the contract total amount is $576,000, it can't be that much because several of these repairs are either or, but not both. I think probably if I was budgeting it, it's probably more like $350 or $375. We can't do both repairs on the same place. So it's, like I said, it's either or. But we think this will speed up our process. We'd like to get these things repaired before the paving contractor gets here. It's something we've looked at a couple of years in the past, and we've just decided to try it and see if it works better.
Questions for Mr. Flynn? Anyone? Mr. Henson?
Yeah, what controls, I mean, if it's really not going to cost this much, what controls the contractor from spending more than
Us.
us? So we're going to monitor this.
We literally, we do. We go out there with him, and as
Okay.
he starts his process, we're going to look at each repair.
Okay.
And the majority of them are going to be the more shallow repair. That's what we see. It's very common. It's really pretty
Okay.
rare to go to that deep repair. But anyway, we just literally stay with him.
So Public Works are going to be there when they're doing it?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And we do that also when we're doing that, when the paving contractor was doing it, it's the same process.
Any other questions? We're on the board. The motion is to approve.
Five ayes, no nays.
And it is approved. Thank you. Next resolution. Kendall, you're back, I think.
A resolution authorizing a contract with RCS Productions Incorporated. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one. My apologies. Sorry about that. A resolution authorizing the city manager to transfer certain properties located in the Heritage Center Industrial Park to Oklo Incorporated for Oklo's proposed advanced nuclear fuel recycling facility.
Moved and seconded. Kendall?
Turn your mic on.
Apologies. This resolution would authorize the transfer of certain real property to Oklo. This would support the development of an advanced nuclear fuel recycling facility at the Heritage Center. The total project acreage is about 248 acres. Funding, there is no direct funding tied to this particular action. Any future acquisition costs for parcels not currently city-owned would be handled separately through independent agreements and future council actions as necessary. Project overview. As you know, Oklo plans to construct and operate an advanced nuclear fuel recycling center at the Heritage Center. The proposed site includes multiple parcels. In your packet, you'll see a map that includes those parcels. Some of those are city-owned and some are owned by Heritage LLC and some by the U.S. Department of Energy. Some of these parcels may be conveyed to the city in the future through negotiations and site assembly efforts. Some of the prior actions, council authorized the city to enter into an MOU between the city, Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development, and the Oak Ridge Corridor Development Corp and Heritage Center LLC. They've authorized the submission of application to TDOT for the realignment of Blair Road and have rezoned approximately 146 acres within the project footprint. So this action could continue to support those efforts and authorize the transfer of city-owned parcels either now or in the future.
Mr. Tinsley?
Yeah, first, I'm very much in favor of this, but I'd like to point out that, you know, when we're, and this refers back to another subject that I talked about. We're pre-zoning DOE property here that has not been transferred yet. And I've been told that we probably shouldn't do that, but yet we're doing it here.
Well, this isn't zoning, this is pre-authorization of transfer.
Designated what it's going to be.
Yeah, that's correct.
Other questions? Ms. Smith?
Yeah, does this authorize transfer of property that the city doesn't own yet, or does it just authorize transfer of property that the city owns? I was confused by your statement.
You want me to?
Ms. Rackard?
It will authorize the transfer once the city owns the property.
Okay.
So
this-
on that list, there are some properties identified to be transferred to the city that are currently owned by Heritage LLC, the DOE, and General Services Administration. And once those do become owned by the city, it would allow the city to transfer them as part of Oklo.
Okay, thanks. And I'm also, it seems like we're selling property. This is a approval for a sale, but there's no indication of dollars involved. And I'm wanting to understand what the next steps are with respect to that aspect and others.
Yeah, there is no value. These lands are just going to be transferred as they are. So there isn't any value. I will mention that, you know, we don't want to come back over and over and over again as each one of these come into city's hands. A lot of these properties are very close to being transferred, so we're just asking for advance permission to authorize a transfer when they do become available.
Okay, so the proposed transfer is at no cost?
That is correct.
That's right.
I hadn't been aware of that. So.
All right, other questions? Ms. Smith, you got anything else?
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, we'll just. Okay, Mr. Coclaser, you had a question or comment? If you would come forward and state your name, address.
Doug Coclaser, 103 Monticello Road. This is very brief, but the map shows a covenant deferral request, crosshatched versus the non-crosshatched yellow. What's the distinction of that designation? Thank you.
So I'll take a shot at answering this, and Tammy's just verifying this to make sense. But this map was produced a number of months ago, before those covenant deferrals were made from DOE. I believe all of those have been transferred at this point. Is that correct, Tammy? With the exception of 1.50. Oh, that's right, that little piece of 1.11. So those are in the process of being transferred, but they were listed as covenant deferral projects because that is how DOE categorized those properties.
Okay, other questions, other comments?
Well, we have some history of having land transferred to entities that ended up not using it and then selling it for substantially more than the amount they got it for. And I'd like to understand just what's going on with the contractual arrangements with Oklo related to the potential future of the property.
The deeds will contain clawback language in them that has not been worked out yet. I will tell you that. And we do have to have the state's approval on the clawback language as well. The large parcel, the 1.55.1, that's what we have commonly referred to as Airport Tract A. And so that one has to have approval of the state for the clawback language since they're paying the $1.9 million for the deed abrogation of the airport use restriction. So there's a lot of things that do still have to be worked out before any property can be transferred. So it's not like it's going to be transferred later this week or anything. There is, it was just placed on there. Since we did receive some properties recently, because some of these properties are a part of the ED18 transfer that occurred from DOE recently.
Yeah, I'd just like to know what opportunity we'll have to basically ratify the agreement in the future.
I think if you would like to do that, then you would need to defer the item.
Or before we defer the item, I know there's representatives of Oklo here. Would a 30-day deferral create a problem for you? You have to come up, I'm sorry.
Maybe they should both come up.
Yeah.
Maybe you should both come up if you need to consult.
It's on? Okay. Ed Petit-Demange with Oklo. The understood on the statements, Councilmember Smith, about the past history with properties that have, not come to fruition. So with regard to a delay, I think that would have some impact on plans. But if it's the council's, if you view that that's very important to review the clawback language, then we will accommodate it. But I'll say we're not opposed to the clawback language. We understand that is a fair provision.
Thanks. I see Mike McGill wants to say
Mr.
something.
McGill, would you like to address the question, the issue?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, Mike McGill, 135 Center Park Lane, Oak Ridge. The corporation has had significant amount of concern about what Councilwoman Smith has raised. And I think thanks to the mayor's leadership and Randy Heeman's, the city manager's leadership, and the transfers that we have done and worked with all the new acquisitions that have taken place, whether it's involving with Industrial Board, property that they own, or others at Heritage Center that we've looked at. We're very specific, very strict that there is clawback language on all those transfers, so we don't go back and relive the negative impact that those circumstances had on the community. I mean, our hands were tied for a significant amount of time of property that was in the hands of another entity that really the city did not have control in and no ability to bring that back. So, and I know that when the corporation started working with the mayor and the city manager and other members of the council, that was one thing that we were very specific about. I think all of us were collectively in favor of having language there that if someone doesn't perform, then the community doesn't need to be held hostage in those circumstances. And all the companies that we've worked with, it's been a very positive discussion about working with us, and they all have had, very specific timeframes and periods on for them to perform. And I think of some of the recent ones that we've been involved with, all of those are in the process of fulfilling their projections in the building of their facility. You can look at BWXT, their building is already open, one of their buildings is already open and occupied. And the others, you think of TriSoX and the significant amount of money that they've already invested in their foundation. All of those are pursuing just as they have projected to us. So I think the important thing is we recognize what happened in the past, and that we don't want to move forward and have that error for the city in the future.
Are the existing clawbacks based, for various companies, based solely on construction progress, or do they also include things like licensing ability, licensing
Most
as
of
needed?
those are their ability to perform under their construction. I mean, I know that we've had some folks have raised questions about technology. I mean, we're not qualified to evaluate and judge the business plan of a particular company. We just, are they utilizing that based on what their projections were to perform whatever their function, their business, of what their the products that they provided or the services that they provide. So that's the evaluation that we're basing that on, so that we don't get into a situation that, oh, I'm going to do this, nothing happens, and there's a vacant piece of property that someone sits back and holds on, and they use it for a purpose, or they make a profit, much like we've seen in the past.
I'm concerned about, with a lot of these, about the potential situation where something gets built and opens, or tries to open, but it's denied approval, for example. That's a.
Well, I would think under those circumstances, and I don't want, I mean, I can't speculate on what.
These facilities do need licenses.
Pardon me?
These are facilities that need regulatory licenses and sometimes a complicated approval process.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for them, but I'm assuming that these companies are not going to invest significant amounts of dollars, recognizing that they don't have a permit and they don't have their license to allow them to go further. I mean, you're asking me to second guess or speculate on, I mean, I'm just looking from my perspective of being a business person in the past. I mean, that's the way that I would evaluate it. But if those folks have got a building there and they're not able to function, they've got to do something with it. It just can't, there'll be some type of activity that will perform there. I mean, I think the way that we looked at this is our biggest concern is if someone acquiring a piece of property, they never do anything with it.
Right.
And it sits there and the community is held hostage until they decide to sell it. If nothing happens, if there's no investment made on the part of the original purchaser, then there's a clawback provision there.
Other questions?
Yeah,
Tom?
Mayor, if I might,
Yeah.
you know, there have been past examples, obviously, you know, and there are a lot of, you know, possibilities of what might or might not happen. But that's the city attorney's, job and the city manager's job to make sure that those eventualities are taken into account and to be dealt with. So I guess, are there any specific things that you're looking for in this language? I mean, if we're going to be coming back at a future date with certain things that council wants to review relative to this, that you don't think that the manager's office and the city attorney can handle, is there something specific you're looking for in language? Because I don't want this to become a back and forth conversation related to how this is happening.
Well, I'm, from my personal professional experience, I've certainly seen situations where an entity thought that they were ready to go forward and invested a lot in a project, and then found that they couldn't qualify for something they needed to make the project work after investing some substantial amount of money in the project. And so that's a concern, that when you're dealing with something that's as complex as some of these projects are, I want to be sure that we are dealing with good information from the technical side as well as the financial side. So that's
Yeah, and we're very interested in that. Well, and they have invested a fairly significant amount of money
Yeah.
in this property already. So we are definitely wanting to move this forward as quickly as we can, so.
Thank you.
For questions? Ms. Smith, are you? Okay. All right, let me ask this. Where are we as it relates to seeing language or having language that would be the clawback provision. We don't have standard language at this point, do we? It varies from project to project.
Right, we do not have standard language. And Oklo just reached out to me last week and said that they had, that they'd heard that we were going to put something on the agenda, and last week the manager had said he was going to put this on the agenda. And I said, yes, we were going to put this on the agenda to authorize it. So we were going to talk about, what was their timeline that they were looking at. So I haven't spoken really with Oklo's attorney yet about what was their timeline of where they were wanting to obtain the land, what was their project goal timeline. But I will say, I did receive information back today from GSA late this afternoon about the deed abrogation, because obviously we cannot transfer that land. That's a good chunk of land for this project. And they received word from the FAA, and everything is moving forward with the deed abrogation. But they found out today that the FAA does have to do a 30-day notice time frame. So that there's an additional 30-day delay in that process that they did not know about, that we found out about late this afternoon. So we're at least 30 days out from being able to do anything.
Given those circumstances, then I would suggest that we defer this, and it's not meant in a negative fashion, but to get more information in terms of finalizing the provisions that we need to have, not only to protect the city, but obviously Oklo, and if that's acceptable, then we'll put this back on the agenda.
Sure.
In 30 days, and hopefully we will have the full complement of city council members back, and hopefully the city manager will also be able to attend.
And the state, Department of Economic and Community,
yeah.
they've got to sign off on it too. So we
Okay.
need to run it by them.
All right, Mr. Hens, you got a comment?
Ms. Rackert, just out of curiosity, what is it that the FAA requires? What are the 30, I heard the 30 days, but what's that buying us?
They have to do a 30-day notice period. It's a requirement on the FAA side that GSA was unaware of until today.
Is FAA still involved in this property?
No, I don't know why they have to do it. GSA just told me today that they learned that FAA had to do a 30-day notice requirement. They had to sign off on the deed abrogation to remove the airport restriction.
Oh, the abrogation that we've already?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Everything is still moving forward.
All right.
It's just a little
All right.
hiccup in the process.
My motion is to defer this item till the April meeting. Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? And it is deferred until the April meeting. All right, next item of business, Madam Clerk.
Yeah. A resolution authorizing a contract with RCS Productions Incorporated, Dunwoody, Georgia, for Atomic Fall Fest entertainment procurement services in an amount not to exceed $150,000.
Moved and seconded.
Yes, as council is well aware, the city brought back a festival last fall, the Atomic Fall Fest. And I think we had a nice, successful festival, but our goal from the beginning has been to start small and build the festival up over coming years. So last year, we had a festival, and we featured local bands for the entertainment in the evenings. We used RCS Productions for the production of the sound and stage and lighting and whatnot. We're again planning on using RCS for those services this year for the second annual Atomic Fall Fest. Excuse me. But we would also like to engage additional services from RCS for talent acquisition. We would like to move beyond just having local bands. We would still probably look at a local band for an opening act, but bring in a larger known name that could attract a larger crowd and be a bigger amenity for the festival. RCS has a long track record of doing this type of work for many different events. They did it for Secret City Festival back when the city was running that festival. They do it for the Tennessee Valley Fair, for festivals at the Biltmore Estate in Nashville, down in Atlanta. So we would like the authority to approve up to $150,000 for the cost of the band and additional expenses, what's typically referred to as a rider for the band. Be happy to take any questions.
Mr. Dawson?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. I had a little history with the Arts Council, and I know for the longest time we worked with the city of Oak Ridge to procure talent. I'm glad we're going back to some of the larger named bands, if you will, to bring in people. Will this be a ticketed event for those concerts, and will we have 1 or 2 days of concerts?
This will be a ticketed event, and this will be a one-day event this year. After evaluating last year's event, we felt that Friday was not really very effective because we are doing it during the school year. We weren't really able to get a very good crowd in the afternoon before the music started, so we feel that it's in our best interest to focus our efforts on Saturday and to put all of our resources into bringing in the best music that we can Saturday night.
Okay, and when most of your resources will go for the main stage in the larger Bissell Park, but we have the, I guess, the amphitheater down here. Will we have any smaller groups performing, or will they all be volunteer groups locally?
We have not made any agreements yet in terms of that, but they will probably primarily be local groups, and exactly what the arrangements will be remains to be determined. We haven't had those discussions yet, but we do intend to have more of a local presence on the pavilion stage.
And I'm glad we're continuing this tradition. Secret City Festival and also the Atomic Fall Festival provides a necessary thing for our community to make it a really great place to live, work, and play. So I really appreciate you and your staff and the City of Oak Ridge working on this event. It's a signature event for our community. So thank you, John.
Absolutely, thank you.
Other questions or comments? See, Ms.
Yeah,
Smith?
we discussed this in Budget and Finance Committee and had the impression that bringing in a regional expert in putting on events like this will give us some benefits that we don't have when we try to do it more locally. So I appreciate that.
Yes.
All right, the motion is to approve, and we're on the board.
Five ayes, no nays.
And the resolution is approved. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
A resolution authorizing a contract to Truckers Lighthouse LLC, Antioch, Tennessee, for the equipment needed to outfit 8 vehicles for the fire and police departments, utilizing state contract pricing in an amount not to exceed $239,723.71.
Move for approval.
Moved and seconded. Yes, sir.
This is for the outfitting. We purchased 8 vehicles on this year's budget, and 1 fire and 7 police vehicles. And this is Truckers, the state contractor that does the outfitting and installs the lights and the cages and sirens and all that. So this is for that amount. It was brought to Budget and Finance on the 26th, and they previewed it, so.
Comments by members of the Finance Committee?
It seems like it's part of the cost of these vehicles that it's the base vehicles we got good prices on, and this necessary equipment, the lists of things that have to go into it, mind-boggling. But it's what we have to do if we're going to be buying vehicles. So.
Any other questions or comments? I think Ms. Smith hit it on the nose. We've got to, you buy them and then you outfit them. And so that's put them in service. All right.
Just
So
one comment.
yeah, Mr. Hanson.
Yeah, looking at, this thing is done vehicle by vehicle with details, with each details down to $12. And so it's really a credible
Yes.
document. Thank you.
Well done. All right, the motion is to approve, and we're on the board.
Five ayes, no nays.
And the resolution is approved. Thank you all. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
A resolution Approving a professional services agreement with Jacobs Engineering Group Incorporated, Knoxville, Tennessee, for consulting services to develop a master water and sewer plan in an amount not to exceed $1 million.
Second, Ms. Hagan.
So we put out RFQs and received multiple firms. I think there were 7 or 8, and we narrowed it down and interviewed 4 consulting firms, and that was done back in January. And so since then, we've been working through the proposal process with Jacobs Engineering. We have gone to both the January the January and February budget and finance meetings. It was a little bit high at the January, so we did some negotiations and tried to change the scope a little bit to bring the cost of services down. But as they mentioned, it's not to exceed $1 million, and it will cover basically looking at 4 distinct areas. We'll be looking at the water treatment plant. I know that we've got a new plant, but that one's probably the smaller percentage, but just looking at like the capacity, if we did need expansion or needed to increase capacity within our existing structure. And then the wastewater treatment plants, both at Rarity Ridge and Turtle Park, as well as our distribution system and our collection system. So they will be looking at the models, or modeling the system, as well as looking at the current capacity and any needs for our future capacity, and as well as the aging infrastructure. So we're going to have some areas probably within the downtown areas that are going to have to be looked at. And by going through this process, then we'll come up with future capital improvement needs, and as well as like looking at the future rate structure for our department, or at least the waterworks portion of the Public Works Department.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Mr. Hensley?
Yeah, are they going to, when they look at the system, are they going to evaluate the age of the components, and that'll be a factor here?
Yes, sir. So they will look, they'll go out there, they have different techniques where they look at the age of the system and try to take that into consideration as we're looking at the 5, 10, and then 20-year, timeframes.
So in other words, it's a failure analysis also?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Smith?
Yeah, and I think the plans or models coming out of this will basically provide us with a baseline for for whatever future work comes up for a number of years on these systems. We all kind of thought that the work done in 2012 was on the wastewater system was kind of recent, but it really isn't anymore. So it's time to update our basic understanding of the systems that your department has to manage. So.
Yes, ma'am. And so that is something that's always changing. And so by creating these models, then our goal would be to try to continue to update those through, every so often to ensure that we're looking at the flows that are coming into the plants or leaving the water treatment plant and just updating our system as needed.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we're on the board. Motion is to approve.
Five ayes, no nays.
And resolution is approved. We're now down to item H.
A resolution extending the appointment of Hugh B. Ward Jr. to the Office of Administrative Hearing Officer through June 30th, 2027, and approving the associated agreement with the compensation level remaining at $2,500 per month.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Racker?
Hi. So this is the item that we discussed at work session. So we were looking at, talked with Hugh Ward. He was interested in doing anything that City Council would like to do, but we thought maybe we could extend it out to put it on the city's fiscal year, give it a little bit more than a year. That way we could really do more of a good advertisement to see if there are people out there that do local interest. MTAS didn't have a list of people by region. They just had people's email addresses, which didn't help me much.
Okay.
But I just kept the compensation the same.
All right, that's fine. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, the motion is motion to approve.
Oh, we're there?
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to hit it, and it ain't hitting.
Let's go back there.
Five ayes, no nays.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself that he's been doing a really good job, by the way.
Resolution is approved.
Yeah, and,
All right, the next item of business is appearance of citizens. Citizens should be permitted to address city council about matters that were not on the formal agenda. Any citizen wishing to do so shall raise his or her hand and proceed to the public lectern, and after recognition, state your name, full address, and the purpose of your appearance before council. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes and shall relate to matters of city business. They shall not generally result in formal response or action at the time of the presentation, because in most cases, neither council nor staff will be prepared to respond effectively. However, the chair may answer questions or direct the city manager to do so, or the city manager may be requested to work with the citizen to effect a resolution or an answer to the matter. Statements that are purely political in nature will not be allowed, such as campaign speeches or announcements of candidacy for office, nor will announcements of a civic or social event that is unrelated to city business. Any citizens wishing to address council? Okay, I'll start, let me start at the back and I'll come up.
Yash Chakowski, 101 Cottage Court, Oak Ridge, Tennessee. I just had some questions after the traffic meeting, because we, as one of the people and neighbors who attended that meeting, we had a couple questions about, so when we met there, the traffic board said that they only, like, to contact the city, like the city council, because they're the ones who make decisions. So the first question was, how does that hierarchy work? Please, that was number one. And then number two, it was about is there still a vacancy on the Parks Board, number two? And then number three, whether citizens, especially citizens in the, Oak Ridge, people in the community, they can make inputs on the master park plan, they can have inputs on that, that's being developed.
Ms. Rackard, do you want to take?
Do you want him to just maybe schedule a meeting with me? To just stop by and
Okay.
I'll answer all your questions.
All right, sure, thank you.
You want to just do that?
Yeah, we can.
I can actually answer the park board one. There's 2 vacancies on the park board. The deadline for applications was February 27th, so those will be voted on at the April meeting to fill those 2 vacancies. So
Was there applicants for it too?
there's 13 applicants
wow.
for 2 vacancies.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll get your.
All right. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mark McBride, 954 West Outer Drive, Oak Ridge. I wanted to add a couple of comments about the 2 people that you honored this evening, 2 of my favorite people.
Mr. Rod, you can't do that now. That time is come and gone.
There wasn't any offering, these are things you didn't talk about.
I'm sorry, I can't make an exception for that. So if you got something else you want to say, I'll be glad to hear it.
Sure.
But we've already done that, and if you would also like to submit your comments about the 2 individuals, then we'll be sure that it's put in the record.
Okay. The second issue that I'd like to talk about, again, is the DOE school aid opportunity, which I think is a wonderful opportunity for the city. I'm going to issue a memo, and I'll send it to you, that outlines 5 steps to ultimately get to the Secretary of Energy and make the case that the city and the counties deserve this school aid because of what they do for the nation. And so the first step in it, I'm not going to go over the 5 steps, but the first step is to prepare a written narration, a narrative, as to why, in fact, this city and the school aid will in fact serve DOE's missions. And I've heard a lot of discussion about DOE over the years, but I can't recall many times when council members have actually talked specifically as to what DOE or what the city does for DOE, the big ticket items. So I think that narrative exercise would be very important, even if you decide not to pursue the aid and pursue this path. I think it'd be a good reference for you. Scarborough, for example, is prominent in my thoughts because they've made 5 major contributions to our country, of which the 85 are only 1. And I'm not talking about small national contributions. They've made 5 major ones. I'd like to see that written down. So anyway, that memo will come out tomorrow, that email, and if you have any comments, please let me know.
All right, thank you.
I've got a quick comment on that.
Mr. Dodson.
Mr. McBride, just a real quick question for you. With regards to this opportunity that you just mentioned, have you approached the Oak Ridge School Board and presented this to them as well?
No, I've been here 3 times. I wanted to talk to you first, out of courtesy and respect.
Sure.
But I am going to go to the school board, I'm going to go to the counties, I'm going to go to the county school systems and talk to everybody, because I think everybody needs to unite on this to give us the best chance of bringing this south.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. McBride. Now, Mr. Coclaser.
Doug Coclaser, 103 Monticello Road. I had 4 brief items. The E-TEC was last Friday. The E-TEC board granted our Greenways and Trails organizations 50 minutes to present the history, story, the value. That was quite generous. And Jeff Gilpin gave an overview of our Greenway Oak Ridge initiative since 1993, and Doug Battelli, who's president of the Clinch Valley Trail Alliance, talked about the alliance and what they're doing. Like some may not be aware, but the Clinch Valley Trail Alliance has raised over $50,000. It's been reinvested in the trails at Haw Ridge, which are becoming a well-known destination. Anyway, the presentation to E-TEC from the 2 individuals, along with Ashley Saunders, who's UCOR's reindustrialization contact, that all ended about 10 after 8, and I thought, well, E-TEC's going to be out early today. The moderator had to call an end at the appointed time at 8:30. People, there were at times 3 and 4 questions that Naomi was running the mic for. So the depth and interest of the community in what we have here, nature and open space, is well recognized and appreciated, and in my opinion can be a big part of the success of these new industries. And I think the industries see that as well. It's just pretty phenomenal what we have. The other point was that 2 or 3 other points real quick. The Tennessee Tech is setting up a nuclear engineering program. 10 of their professors came today to Kairos for a tour. So we're getting a lot of exposure. I had a tour today of the BWX facility. They haven't closed their security perimeter yet. The production area had 10 massive machines, $2 million under a panel with a control board to make centrifuges. So you haven't seen what they've got in that assembly building. I mean, it's like Mr. McGill said, things are happening. And, right now, for example, this evening, Kairos is at the Roane County Commission meeting, giving them a briefing on where they're going. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other citizen wishing to address council? Seeing none, next item, announcements. Scheduling, is there any requests? Okay, new business items or future briefings, any requests on that tonight? Okay. Mr. Pessmer, are you going to give a report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'll give a brief report. Just a couple of items just to keep everybody up to speed on things. So the annual leaf pickup program is now complete. I think, as everyone knows, that program got a little bit behind. Lauren did a great job of making sure that people knew where things were at. They were also impacted by some snow events that we had. So if you missed your pickup for some reason, or you believe your street was missed, you can call Waste Connections at the number we provided there. We'll also make sure that this is on our website, but they will come back and pick your leaves up as necessary. March 30th, 2026, we'll start the household trash pickup program. That is on our website and will be up and coming. The 28th annual water quality report is now available. As usual, it indicates that Oak Ridge Water is in compliance with in all respects, the state and federal drinking water requirements. Just a couple of things. The chief wanted to get this information out as soon as we could. So a couple of promotions. So first off, Lieutenant Shannon Newman was promoted to the police captain. So congratulations to her. She's also assigned to the patrol division as a division commander. Sergeant Kevin Craig was promoted to police lieutenant. Officer Adam Fairbanks will be promoted to police sergeant, and Officer Sally Yeesh will be promoted to police sergeant. So that is breaking information, and I wanted to get that out there as soon as possible. Randy asked to have this slide put in a few days ago, but the Oak Ridge Fire Department now has 13 certified drone pilots. In 2025, they logged 100,000 hours of training, completed 25 operational missions, and so far this year they've already completed 6 total missions. We have put in place a new outage map for electric outages. So this is a company that we've entered into an agreement with. This will allow you to text anytime to report a power outage. You can also do it on the webpage. We're building out our webpage. You can see oakridgetennessee.gov/outages. We'll continue to make that better, but what we want to make sure is that we have the ability for people to report outages and also have a map where people can see where the outages are so they know that it's not just them. They can have a better idea what's going on. So we are working on improving some communication there. We had some issues with the utility payment site today. That's all back online. Just want to let people know that due to these issues, late fees and penalties will be waived relative to that. I don't have the exact time on that, but typically we do 14 days is what we do. The city manager's report, City of Oak Ridge Recreation Parks Department will host its annual community egg hunt on Saturday, March 28th, 11 a.m. Youth Advisory Board will be hosting, and it's a fun event, and looking forward to that happening. Then just quickly, just a couple of promoted employees. Robert Payne, fire captain, the fire department. Robert Lawler, Recreation Assistant 2. And then we have a few new city employees. Carla Magnuson, working in our courts, Deputy Court Clerk. Caitlin Faust, Intern 1. And then Devin Souders, in Utility Account Analyst 1. So that is all that I have, unless you have questions for me.
Questions? Mr. Acker?
I do not have a report.
No report? Okay, thank you. Having concluded our agenda, we are adjourned. Thank you all.